they are desensitizing, and this is a big part of what I was noticing. The kids were being desensitized to things like the Holocaust by
Mm.
jokes, because middle schoolers, and I'm trying not to go into like expert on boys phase. I'm trying to stay in that phase of like I was just a mom who knew a lot about digital media. They love irreverent things that don't make sense to parents. There's a reason why 6-7 got so popular, and it was because parents went, "What are you doing? I don't get it." And they love that kind of edgy thing, pushing against the
Sure.
limit, seeing how far they can go. So what I noticed was happening was it wasn't an accident that this was targeting them, because it was very clear they wanted to desensitize them. They wanted to make them joke in an ironic way about the Holocaust, so that when people started talking seriously about the Holocaust, there was an element of like, yeah, whatever. Just a slow creeping in of that. And
Mhm.
most of what I was seeing at the time was a lot of Holocaust stuff, a lot of Nazi stuff, a lot of Hitler stuff. And it was also kind of for us adults, it was also kind of the rise of us talking about modern fascism. So like at that time, we had, it was 2019. So we had a whole global conversation about what fascism would look like now. So like the best thing that you can do if you want to move that window to the extreme right is to start getting kids to mistrust what their parents are teaching them about fascism. Fascism as in Hitler, as in, the SS, as in all of, like Soviets that were, killing thousands and thousands of Jews, and like making them think like, "Well, I'm not so sure." And it was all subconscious, and watching that deteriorate, watching those efforts and understanding what it was, I just was like, "Holy shit." And no one I knew was really looking at their kids' timelines. They weren't.
Mhm. Unbelievable. So you I mean, I remember, when my son first accessed, not Instagram, but he was, his friends and him first started being on social media. He was in maybe 4th grade, and he said to me something like, I said something about Greta Thunberg, and he goes, "Ugh, she's the worst."
Yeah.
And I went, "Huh?" Like
Yeah.
record scratch. And I was like, "Who's Greta Thunberg?" And he's like,
They don't
And I
know.
was like, of course he doesn't know. He had been getting fed Andrew Tate stuff just because of his age and the other things he was looking at, as you said, and I think it made him feel kinda cool to, like,
Mhm.
I know more than my mom and that
Mhm.
stuff, and he had but yes, so, it's unbelievable.
Well, we had
It's
that
so
in our
palpable.
house about Amber Heard, and I know that Amber Heard and Johnny Depp are a major divisive topic
Mhm.
to this day. But there women who had experienced harassment as young women or even as adults, there were so many phrases and, um, ways of discrediting her that became so commonplace, and one of my kids said something like it, like, "Well, you're lying like Amber Heard," or something like that, I don't know, and I was just like, it was the same thing, I was like, "My kid? My kid? My
Yeah,
kid."
blows your mind, blows your mind.
And he also was like, I was like, "Do you know how many women in the world hear phrases like that when something horrific happened to them? And you and I don't even have to decide whether something happened to her or not. We can just have a conversation about what it sounds like to my ears and my body when other people make those jokes and those comments." And at that moment, it hit him. He was like, he really couldn't understand the big picture perspective on why Amber Heard and that story was so divisive. He had just heard all of these guys who didn't seem that offensive on the surface saying she was like a lying whatever, right?
Yeah.